Everyone, and welcome to back to Sipping Wealth Live, where I bring you news, tips, and tricks on how to wealth up. Hey, y'all. Let me do something real quick, y'all, before we get started. Make sure everything's up and running. Okay, looks like we Gucci. All right. Okay, let's go. Alrighty, y'all. So today we are going to talk about sales tax. I have been getting quite a few new clients dealing with sales tax issues. I have someone right now dealing with an issue from 2004. I have another few that have gotten letters from the Department of Revenue saying, "Hey, you owe us money, penalties, fees, all this." So I want to make sure, and even those business owners that even know that they're actually supposed to be paying this money to the Department of Revenue. So they've been collecting sales tax from customers and clients, but they haven't been paying out to the Department of Revenue. So I'm going to, throughout this live, I'm going to make sure I clarify, give y'all some information, make sure y'all know exactly how to navigate this, know what to do about with the sales tax, just give y'all some basic information. All right. So those that are tuned in with me, thank you for joining me. And make sure that you hit the subscribe button to the YouTube channel, Sipping Wealth, as well as making sure you hit the share button on the live so that our loved ones, our families, followers, all that good stuff is wealthing up with us and getting this amazing information as well. And also, those of you that are tuned in, go ahead and drop a "Hey girl" in the comment section so I know who's tuned in with me. And then, of course, per usual, as I continue to talk and chat and give y'all this information, if you do have any questions, comments, just want to engage, make sure you drop it in the comment section, y'all. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into the topic. I just want to make sure that everything is working, working. Mm-mm. Okay, y'all. Hold on. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, I think we're good. All right, let's go. Okay, so for starters, I'm gonna start with how do I even why do I need to register with the Department of Revenue for sales tax? I'm gonna start with the why. So if you're selling a good or a particular item, usually in the state of Florida, a lot of the service-based industries do not have to worry about collecting sales tax. But if you're selling, reselling goods, if you're selling lotions, supplies, whatever the case may be, you have to collect sales tax from your customer. What this also helps you do is not pay sales tax to your supplier. So your vendor, whoever you receiving those supplies from, this helps you with not paying sales tax to them. But when you actually do the work or you resell the item to whoever the client is, you're collecting sales tax from them. So I do have people that they're paying their supplier or their vendor sales tax, and then they're also collecting sales tax from their customer. So now the Department of Revenue is essentially getting paid twice, right? Because you already paid them, and they're going to remit that to the Department of Revenue, and then you're going to collect the money from your customer on the same item. So but using the certificate, the sales and use tax certificate, you give your vendor or your supplier this, and it lets them know that, hey, I am registered with the Department of Revenue. I have this certificate that says I'm going to resell or use this item, and maybe a labor, maybe you're a mechanic, maybe you're a painter, and you're going, or maybe you do flooring and you're going to use this material on the job of your customer. Well, your client is going to pay sales tax on the actual materials. So you don't have to pay that if you're purchasing it from Lowe's or Home Depot or whoever your supplier is. You don't have to then again pay sales tax to them. You just have to give them the certificate. Okay. Now it's really simple and easy to register for this, but if you need some assistance, of course, reach out to us at Strategic Tax Accountants. But you are just going to go to the Department of Revenue site and you're going to actually put in an application so that you can receive the sales and use certificate. They're going to give you a business partner number. You're going to give you login information, everything, so that you could go ahead and remit those taxes, pay those sales and use taxes online. That's going to be the easiest way. Excuse me, y'all. That's going to be the easiest way of getting those sales and use tax paid to the Department of Revenue instead of writing them a check and doing a whole mailing system. All right. So like I said, the business, if you are selling goods, if you're collecting sales tax, if you have a resale certificate, some people even get a resale certificate and they don't realize that you have to actually remit and file the form, which is a DR-15 every month or every quarter. If you don't, they will penalize you. So as soon as you file for a resale certificate from the Department of Revenue for your sales and use tax, they are requiring you, they are now saying, okay, we are expecting you to file every quarter or every month, depending on how much money you make, of a return with us, which again is the DR-15. Okay, so when you don't file, then you're stuck with you getting a notice saying, hey, you owe us a penalty, and they're going to come up with a number based on what they think you may owe them for whatever goods or purchases that you made and resold. Okay, and that's what the penalties and everything is going to be made up of. All right, so again, once you apply for this sales and use certificate, you need to make sure that you are remitting those taxes, filing that form and everything every quarter or every month, depending on how much money you're earning. All right. The Department of Revenue is automatically going to kind of bump you up if you go over the threshold. Okay, so if they find that you're over the threshold, then they're going to say, hey, instead of doing quarterly filings, we want you to do monthly filings. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are opening those letters, not just seeing the letters and throwing them off to the side, because your penalties and everything is stacking up. Okay, all right. So for sales tax for Florida, the state of Florida, sales tax rate is 6%. Now they did just come out with a legislation for those that are in the commercial real estate or rental space, that it's actually going to come down as far as the tax rate. So instead of the 4.5%, it's going to come down to 2%. But that's just for the state. You still have to pay the county taxes as well. Okay. The other thing is, so currently for all other goods outside of real estate and transient tax, that the base for the state of Florida is going to be 6%. Now, where do they get it to 7%? I pay 7% sales tax, or I pay 7.5% sales tax. Where are they getting this number from? Well, they're adding the county tax, which is your surtax rate, onto it as well. So the county has to get paid and the state has to get paid. So maybe your county gets 1%, or maybe your county gets 1.5% or 0.5%. But regardless of what it is, they're going to add the surtax onto the sales tax, and that's going to be your complete sales tax amount that you're going to charge your customer, or that you're paying to whoever is giving you material, goods, or food, or whatever the case may be, as far as taxable items when it comes to sales tax. Now, some people, they're like, hey, I paid sales tax throughout the year. Let me put it on my tax return or whatever. Business owners, they're like, oh yeah, let me file the sales tax that I've been remitting to the Department of Revenue. Where you're just playing the middleman. You don't get to claim those deductions on your taxes. All you're doing is collecting that money from your customer and giving it to the Department of Revenue. So it's not your money to keep, and it's not your money. So you can't claim it as income. You can't just leave it in your bank account and spend it. And you also can't claim it as a deduction because it's not your money. All you're doing is being the middleman between the Department of Revenue and the customer and giving them that money. Okay. Now, you do want to make sure that you understand taxable items. So a lot of the times the Department of Revenue will do sales tax holidays. Like when there's hurricane season, they will have where certain items they won't collect sales tax on certain items. Or maybe you're in the service-based industry. You want to know, hey, even though I'm in a service-based industry, am I in the clear as far as needing to collect sales tax and remit sales tax? And then if you're also supplying goods or selling goods, using goods, you want to make sure that you are also aware of, okay, are those items taxable? Because I need to make sure that I'm remitting those taxes. Whether you use those items or you sell those items, you still remit those taxes. It's a sales and use tax. So, yes, ideally, we want to make sure that we're selling it because you want to profit. But if you end up using those items, in any other manner, you want to still make sure that you're remitting that as well. Exemptions. So there's quite a few exemptions when it comes when it as it relates to sales tax. So certain items, such as groceries, prescriptions, some different medicines and medical equipment, are exempt from sales tax in Florida. So I'm gonna like really hone in on Florida, okay? Because this is the state that I am in right now. But if you have questions on other states, just feel free to reach out. But I am talking directly about Florida. So for the state of Florida, like I said, a lot of things are exempt from sales tax. So you want to make sure that you know what the exemptions are and you know what the taxable items are. Also, businesses have to pay use tax on items they purchased out of state and brought into Florida. So if the use tax wasn't paid at the when they purchased the item. So if you purchased an item from another state and you didn't pay sales tax, then when you use it in the state of Florida, then you have to pay sales tax then. All right. So yeah, all in all, they want to make sure that you're remitting these taxes. Mm. All right. Filing frequency, I already kind of like hinted at this, making sure that you are remitting those taxes, that DR-15 on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. Like I said, this is based on how much you're actually doing in sales every month or every quarter. Okay, the higher you go in sales, the more often you're going to have to do these filings. Okay, but you have to do them or you're going to get hit with those penalties. I get a lot of people that come my way and they're like, oh, I'm stuck with all these penalties, or I have to do the filing, I keep forgetting, or whatever. Get help because, they do stack up and they do come after you. And the Department of Revenue do have the power to levy, freeze accounts, all that good stuff. Well, bad stuff, but so you want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, you're remitting those taxes because essentially you're taking money from them. You took it from the customer and it's their money. So they're like, hey, you're stealing from us. And this is probably the quickest way to fall into an audit is not getting those filings done. Because now the Department of Revenue wants to know, where is the money? The money should have never been spent because it's not your money. And you should have remitted those taxes to us when you collected it. And then the other thing, they're going to be like, hey, they want to see your books. They want to see your numbers. They want to see your sales reports. Like, I've helped quite a few clients with audits with the Department of Revenue because of this issue, because they did not file their sales tax returns. and now they're stuck in an audit. Now they have to reveal and open up their books and everything like that to the Department of Revenue, or pay the fine, and or pay the fines. All right. Record keeping, y'all. I bring up record keeping probably every single live. Look, if you're not bookkeeping and you're in business, I guarantee you're losing money. Like, guaranteed. I'm sure. Like, there's no way you're not. Like, you have to keep proper record. Maintaining good records not only helps with making sure that you have what you need to strategize. It helps with being funded. It helps with taxes. It helps with making sure you're paying the right amount to the Department of Revenue. You're not losing money. It just, you have to have bookkeeping and record keeping in place. This is crucial. Like, majority of businesses fail because of this issue, financial concerns, because you're leaving the financial aspect of the business open. You're you're not doing it. Doing the operations and helping people is amazing, and I know that's, you want to help people, you want to get your product out there, you want to get your service out there, you want to do this, but if you're not maintaining, good books, if you're not paying attention to the financials of the business, you're not going to be in business long, or you're going to be robbing Peter to pay Paul. And that's just the life that you're going to be in a revolving circle. You left one rat race to join another. Okay. Um, Resale certificate, I went over this at the beginning. But make sure that you are maintaining this resale certificate and you're giving it to your vendors and suppliers. Okay. Yes. And you also want to make sure that anyone that you are supplying is giving you a resale certificate if they're not paying sales tax to you. So if they're like, oh, I'm not supposed to be paying sales tax, well, let me get your certificate, and you have to keep those on file as well. Okay, you have to keep those on record. The Department of Revenue can go 3 years. Okay. Sales tax holidays, I hinted at this as well. So just kind of being aware. We do have a newsletter that we send out to our clients, kind of updating and everything like that. You can also sign up for the newsletter with the Department of Revenue, just kind of finding out about the different sales tax holidays, hurricane readiness, back to school, different, they'd have different sales tax holidays depending on what's going on. So they may come out with one just because they feel like, okay, let's give them a tax break, a sales tax break on this. But hurricane readiness and back to school is something that happens every year. Penalties and interest with this is huge. I did talk about the audits. If you are missing your sales tax reporting, if you're like, I've been paying sales tax to my suppliers and vendors, and I need to figure out how to not do that, or what am I supposed to be doing? You need a resale certificate. Just go into the Department of Revenue, file for it, reach out to us. We can assist with that, whatever needs to happen. But that's essentially how you get that done. Remote. So people that sell things out of state, or you're selling it everywhere else. So you want to make sure that you're keeping track of the items that you're selling in different states as well, because the different state, depending on the state that you're selling in, they do have thresholds as far as how much you can earn in their state before they're like, hey, you need to remit sales tax to us as well. So a lot of online businesses, maybe you have another business that is out of state, you want to make sure that you are aware of the nexus, and like, hey, what, as far as your presence of your business, or what you, how much you're selling in that state, different states, because that does affect your sales tax, and you can be required to remit sales tax in those states and counties as well. So that's why, once again, having proper record keeping is important. Because I had a client that was doing great sales in the state of Georgia, and then it came back, and state of Georgia is like, hey, what's going on, where's our money. So then you have to go back years, remit, all the reportings, and you still have to do all the reportings for each year and each quarter and everything. Like it doesn't just go away. But they definitely want their money. So making sure that you are on top of this. There are different programs. There's an amnesty program that helps with businesses coming into compliance as well. Really just communicate with the Department of Revenue. A lot of the people that work there are here to help. You could literally just call over, ask your questions. Every now and again, it could get a little testy, but for the most part, they're easy to talk to. Just call over, ask for more information. Hey, what's going on in my account? Hey, I got a letter. Can you give me more information on that? You know, Whatever. And or the other thing is to consult with a tax attorney, myself. Or um the tax professional that'll be able to assist you with that. So I am an enrolled agent. I am able to assist anyone to represent my clients for all tax matters. But making sure that, hey, like, you get in contact with someone that is able to assist you. And also make sure that you're staying educated, watching lives like this, um, so that you're up to date on what's going on and know what to do. Let me make sure I see if I have any questions. I know we kind of flew by that, but yes, y'all, that is it as far as sales tax. Make sure that you registered for it. Make sure you're remitting those taxes. The state of Florida base is 6%, but you do have county tax depending on the county that you are in. So if you go down to Miami versus Orlando, you are going to pay a different sales tax. It does change because it is going to take into account with the county that you're in. Not every county is the same rate. Okay. But yes, across the board for the state of Florida, it is 6% as far as the base for Florida specifically. But yes, make sure that you understand your filing frequencies. I did go over quite a bit of information on this live. If you make sure that you go back and listen from the beginning of this live, but there's a lot of good information and helpful information within it to make sure that you know how to navigate the sales tax, at least the basic information. Because one thing, I love to educate my clients as well, because it's one thing for me to click around and do the work for you, but if you're not educated throughout the process, then you're still in it blind. You're in it blindly. So even with our tax returns or whatever, we walk our clients through line by line and say, hey, this is what this is, this is what this number is, because I want you to know what you're looking at. So that when somebody asks you what this is, what that is, you can easily regurgitate it to them without a hesitation about your business. Because at the end of the day, it is your business. All right. No one's going to care about it more than you. All right, y'all. So that is it. Let me make sure. Hey, Rapunzel. Thank you for commenting and tuning in. Thank you. If you need any assistance, let me know. Reach out. If anyone needs any assistance with the sales tax, how to navigate it, feel free to reach out to us at Strategic Tax Accountants. And make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any other episodes of Sipping Wealth Live. I will see y'all next week, next Tuesday at 6 p.m. on the dot for another episode of Sipping Wealth Live, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful, amazing rest of your Tuesday, and let's wealth up.